Hello friends and potential friends. Well, I'm back in the lab again. This is not going to be a complete lab update. I just had a situation come up that gave me the opportunity to pass along a little tip that one or two of you out there may not know. Now, I'm sure most gardeners are very well aware of this, but there may be a few of you out there that haven't seen it before, so hopefully this will give you a little bit more ammunition for your gardening toolbox. Those of you that made it to the end of my last garden update, you may have seen that I had an issue with some blossom end rot on the Homestead tomatoes that I'm growing in a green stalk. Now, those Homestead tomatoes are pretty special to me this year. I got a few seeds from my friend Cindy at My Lazy Day Garden, and I was able to get 4 plants to germinate and grow well out of them. A little bit of history: the Homestead tomato was developed back in the 1950s specifically to be heat and pest tolerant to Florida growing conditions. Now, most tomatoes we have a hard time growing down here in Florida. In fact, if you watch my last videos and updates over the last couple of years, you'll see that I grow most of my tomatoes through the winter because they simply can't handle the summer heat and high ultraviolet. Well, when I saw that blossom end rot, that kind of threw me into a little bit of a panic, because those 4 plants were my hope for growing tomatoes in the spring. My sole intention with them this year is to get as many seeds as I can so that I can keep planting them year after year if they do turn out as well as they seem, or as well as they're intended to. So a week or so ago, no, I guess it's closer to 2 weeks now, I cut a couple of suckers off of those Homesteads, and I brought them in here and I put them in a jar of water. And as you can see, they're producing a lot of roots. So basically my next step, I've got a couple of pots here with about 3 inches of soil. You'll notice that the bottom of the root of the stem doesn't have many roots. All the roots are coming out of the sides. So when I put these into these pots, they're going to come up about that far, and then I'll carefully add the rest of the soil in them to bring it up to about here. In fact, that one leaf is going to have to go. So I have amended the soil a little bit with some of my usual fertilizers. I generally use blood meal and bone meal, a little bit of Epsom salts for the magnesium sulfate, and then I've got a general organic Dr. Earth's slow release fertilizer, and I put a pinch of that into here. So I'm going to carefully plant both of these. And as you can see, I'm burying them pretty good in the soil. Let me go get a little bit more soil and I'll finish off the process. Okay, got me a little bit more soil, and I'm being real gentle with these things too, because they've already undergone quite a bit of shock, being cut off of their parent plant and put in the water. I don't want to shock them any more than necessary, but I know that this is going to produce a little bit more shock to them. But I'm just going to fill this thing up all the way to the top. I will be keeping these pots here in the lab, and incidentally, I'll also, if they do happen to form any flowers, I'll be watering them in real good. But if they do happen to form any flowers, I'm going to pinch those flowers off because I don't want them getting pollinated here in the lab. My reason for that is over here I've still got my Praxis cherry tomato in here, and as you may be able to see, is producing little tomatoes for me. So there is some tomato pollen floating around in here, and I want to make sure that these Homestead tomatoes give me some clean, viable seeds. So I will not be letting them get pollinated in here. Now I've got the one more I need to do, though from the looks of it I may give that a few more days in the water. Doesn't have as many roots as the first one did. And once I get them both established well, I probably will move one of them out in the front yard, out near the green stalks. And since it looks like I did get the blossom end rot handled, I haven't seen any more signs of it since I treated the green stalk and started watering better, to be honest. The second of these cuttings, once it's well established, will probably go up the street to my buddy's garden, because he deals with the same issues with tomatoes as I do. In another month or so, it gets much too hot for most tomatoes to survive down here. But anyway, I just wanted to pass that along, and meanwhile, I'll see you on the next video.